In an era where technology shapes national security and everyday life, the conversation around data privacy has never been more urgent as Nigeria deepens its digital transition, embracing online banking, expanding telecoms coverage, and integrating smart security systems. Questions continue to surface about how citizens' personal information is collected, stored, and shared. With cybercrime evolving and digital platforms becoming prime targets, the balance between privacy and protection is increasingly delicate. Joining us live via Zoom from Cardiff in Wales, United Kingdom, is Chinonso Ukadike, a product lead and founder of At Proximity. Thanks for joining us on the news at this hour. In today's world, and that is described as a global village, and in an era of AI and artificial intelligence, how important is the issue of data management and privacy?
Okay, thank you so much for that question, and thank you for having me. Just to confirm, can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, we can hear you very clearly.
All right. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah. So thank you for that question. Right. So for me, I believe that data management and privacy is something that is extremely important today, primarily because we live in a world where information is stored digitally, right? And we have smartphones, internet, connecting everyone globally, and this has made people to leave traces of their data online, right? And that has ultimately made data like a very, very valuable resources. And that means that the way that data is managed can actually make or mar someone, right? If it's handled properly, it could drive development, it could drive advancement. But however, if the data is misused, then it could lead to a lot of consequences like fraud, blackmail, identity thefts, and all of those things. So in our age now where digital technology is advancing, right? Data management and privacy is very, very important now because the way that data is used can actually determine how our lives can progress forward.
So one of the problems of data privacy in Nigeria seems to be a lack of adequate awareness among citizens about their rights. And how can we change this story?
Right. Yeah, that is actually a very big problem, and I would agree with you on that. And to be able to change the story, right, we need to be able to sensitize and let the citizens understand the rights that they have. Because if you are ignorant of your rights, then you would probably not be able to know when those rights has been trampled upon, right? So that is why it's important that we need to drive that awareness. Now, for instance, what I'm going to say about that is that in terms of driving the awareness, right, it's something that everyone needs to do, right? So from the perspective of the government, they need to go like beyond policy making and policy enforcement to ensure that they invest in like continuous public awareness campaigns that kind of lets people know how to responsibly use the social media, right? Awareness can be driven through schools, right? Because you know that teenagers are like one of the most consumers of cell phones and smartphones, right? So if awareness is driven through schools, teenagers, they know early on how to efficiently manage their data, right? Also, companies as well can also drive that awareness, right? Now, for instance, let's say you call a bank and you hear that maybe you call a bank customer, can they tell you that we cannot ask you to share your ATM PIN or ATM card details with us and all of those things. Once they share all of those informations to their customers are aware on how to behave and what to share to people. So if maybe they fall into a situation whereby someone asks them for those informations, they would know that they shouldn't be doing that. So I believe that it's everyone's responsibility to drive that awareness so that we'll be able to like understand how to responsibly manage and use our data.
A very vital part that you may have missed, I don't think it's deliberate, but is insecurity. How can data management be used to tackle insecurity, especially in Nigeria?
All right. Okay. Thank you so much for bringing me back to that. In terms of insecurity, when data is used appropriately, it's actually very, very powerful and can be used as a weapon really to tackle insecurity. I'll give an instance. Some of the insecurities that go on, right, times they leave some digital traces, like you can have phone records, financial transaction records, some even leave videos behind or even location data. All of these things are informations that if it's collated and analyzed properly, right, security agencies can use that to track criminals faster. They can use that to identify patterns, and they can also use it to also prevent attacks, right? So it's just boils down to being able to collect all of those data that are being left behind, right? Analyzing it properly, which would enable them to make informed decisions on how to solve insecurity, basically.
Thank you for that updating answer. Thank you so much for staying with us on the news.